Yeah, rain in the dark, it's not easy driving, that's for sure.
Okay, we'll go ahead and call to order this regular meeting of the Killingly Inland Wetlands and Watercourse Commission, and we'll start with roll call.
Sandy Eggers.
Here.
Rodney Galton.
Here.
Deb Lamiat.
Here.
Karina Torrey here.
And Fred did give us notice, so he's absent with notification. And we wish the best for him with his knee, that's for sure.
Yes.
Our first item will be adoption of the minutes of the January 3rd, 2022 regular meeting.
Which I think there might have been a Scribner's error. Deb, did you have that? One of the votes?
Yes, I was, I voted no on, Sherry, on one of the applications.
I believe to accept it. You voted to not accept it.
Correct. And it was unanimous. It did go through, but
Yeah, I think it was 21-15-38. Was it the first application we have up tonight?
yes, it is.
Okay.
Okay, so we would need that corrected in the minutes. Anything else?
Not on my part.
Anyone else catch anything?
No. Motion to accept the minutes as revised.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve the January 3rd, 2022 minutes as they were revised and corrected. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, next thing would be citizens' participation, if anyone's here for anything other than an application this evening, which doesn't seem to be the case.
No, and we received no comment.
Okay. Then we'll move right on to unfinished business. First item being application 21-1538 of Tammy Rainville and Robert Labonte for redevelopment of an existing agricultural property for residential use. And actually, that's at 146 Pineville Road.
Thank you.
Is there any benefit to me setting up a plan way back here on an easel for you? Probably can't.
Probably not.
I'll leave it in there.
We won't be afraid to ask your questions, though, don't worry.
My name is Damian Sorrentino, I'm certified planner and soil scientist.
We have to have you talk on there so they can hear you.
Sorry.
Push it in. There you go.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. Coming in hot. My name is Damian Sorrentino, certified planner and soil scientist from Boundaries LLC. Here this evening representing Tammy Rainville, Robert Labonte on an application for residential site plan, a permit to conduct regulated activity. We were presented this application last time. It's a residential site development plan. We're demolishing an existing barn and replacing it with a residence. Also proposing to construct a detached garage with an in-law apartment, on-site sewage disposal system, and a water supply well associated grading and erosion and sedimentation controls also. Since the last meeting, few members said they were going to go out and have a site walk, look at that little area within the existing agricultural field there. That's a little depression. Definitely the vegetation's a little different in there, some mucky soils in there. That is the wetland that's delineated by Flag Series A. It is isolated from the remaining wetland. That's a riparian wetland to the 5 Mile River. Also approximately coincident with the A flood zone associated with a water course that flows southeasterly across, Putnam Road from a pond on the other side. So since then, hopefully some of you got out to see this site before it snowed. The client said that he did see some footprints there, so somebody made it out there, whether staff or commissioners, so that's good. We received some comments from the town engineer relating specifically to the drainage improvements. So revision A incorporates those revisions. They were to change the catch basin tops to curbed style tops instead of curbless style tops, and to provide a paved swale from the existing edge of pavement on Pineville Road to those catch basins in both locations. We have added that to the plan. Instead of an HDPE pipe with a length of 105 feet running along the southeasterly side of Pineville Road, they asked that we use reinforced concrete pipe Instead, we incorporated that onto the plan because although it's above the septic system elevation, it is within 25 feet. So it does have to be tight pipe, so we have specified that the rubber compression gaskets be incorporated into the bell ends of those reinforced concrete pipes along that run. We also incorporated a 10-foot by 64-foot drainage easement and rights to drain in favor of the town of Killingly along the southeasterly property line. That'll be so the town could get in there and maintain the pipe if they need to, maintain that outlet, clean out that riprap apron, et cetera. The other comments, so there was the catch basin tops, there was the HDPE pipe, the sediment fence, item number 3, relocate the sediment fence barrier to the uphill side of the inland wetland that's identified as a possible bury pit. We did not address that comment because, as stated previously, we are asking to remove the top foot or so of mucky soil from that area, place some of the fill spoils, the subsoil from the building construction that we have going on into that, and then top dress it with native topsoil, hopefully to make it suitable for lawn maintenance equipment. It is wet to the surface because of the mucky material that's in there, so we are proposing to modify that inland wetland Series A and make it just part of the residential lawn. And then number 4 was a driveway apron detail to match what the town of Killingly requires. That
It's a
driveway
P and Z
apron,
issue, really.
that driveway apron was, well, everything is within the upland review area. So we did have to modify some grading to match that detail, so we did that also. Driveway got a little bit steeper, but the first portion is paved, so not really affecting much. So those were the changes that we made to the plan. Not much really else to explain here.
Yep, Dave Cap did agree, items 1, 2, and 4 have been addressed. He agreed with the applicant's thoughts on item number 3.
That's what I was gonna ask you, what the staff's opinion was on that.
Yeah, and then there was a memo in regards to the road trench for Connecticut DOT Form 816 or current version, just to keep that in mind and have driveway permits and encroachment permits
Yep.
are available.
That comment on the trench came in late. I'm not sure if that relates to, crossing within the pavement or this, all of the work that we're doing is within the shoulder, the unpaved shoulder of the road, so we'll have to check on that to see
Yeah.
whether or not that needs to be
Dave can
incorporated.
clarify, yeah.
We did also receive the plan review approval from the Northeast Health District, which, as I mentioned, was referred to State of Connecticut DPH for the central subsurface sewage disposal system exception, that both of those buildings can be tied into the same septic system. That the approval from DPH is noted as condition number 10 on the plan approval from NDDH. So we are clear with the health department. The applicant actually pulled his permit to construct the system already.
Okay, is that, excuse me, is that approval part of the record? Do we have?
Yes, I did find
Yeah,
out.
I have
Okay.
all the health department paperwork.
Okay.
It's in this collection here
Yeah,
somewhere.
it's in your
On the
packet.
smaller packet?
It's in the smaller packet. Did you happen to see any comments from their soil scientist on what they thought about that low weird pit area?
No.
I have a question having to do with the, I see your leaching system, the cross-section. You're gonna be leaching out towards the, wetland area?
Yes, the hydraulic gradient flows downhill from the septic system towards the wetland, yes.
Okay, because I saw that the actual sewage is going to be contained, but the leach field, of course, will be leaching. And I'm just worried about it leaching into the wetlands. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, the wetland is approximately 120 feet away from the primary system at its closest.
Okay,
So 120 feet is certainly enough soil to renovate the sewage from what's essentially a 3-bedroom residence. In my professional opinion, it will have no effect on the inland wetlands. The health code prescribes a separating distance of 25 feet to a wetland.
Okay.
We have more than 4 times that distance.
I think all of
How
that
about
stuff
any
meets.
runoff?
That means.
Any runoffs on here? How are we going to be handling that? Is that going to be redirected into the town systems to collect any runoffs from your property?
The town system, everything on the site will be contained on the site. The town engineer required us to provide the grading and the detail for the driveway apron. There's only a first couple of feet of the driveway apron that drains back towards the road. All of the road currently goes, just sheets flows off the site, and there's a point discharge with no associated easement or rights to drain, which drains onto our property. We're actually going to catch that, push it southwesterly through a series of pipes and catch basins and out to
I think you're right.
a flared end with a riprap scour hole, and then it will flow overland down gradient to the wetland. The driveway, the portion of the paved driveway and the rest of the gravel driveway kind of sheet flow to the southeast through a large area of what will most likely be manicured lawn and then probably, brushy kind of grass. There's not much woody vegetation between there and the tree line, but I don't imagine they'll make lawn all the way up to the wetland here. The intent is that they stop that lawn area kind of where we have the sediment fence and kind of use that natural vegetation to buffer the inland wetland. The roof leaders and stuff, these are not large buildings, they're rather small. Well, the bedroom's only a 2-bedroom residence, and there's a garage. Those roof leaders were just discharged onto the grass surface, flow overland into the wetland, which is located down gradient. All of that is essentially clean runoff. It's rainwater that makes it through the clip.
Seems like it meets all the normal requirements during any residential.
Yeah,
development.
it's not a point discharge like
No.
directly into the wetland. Our kind of our guidelines and our regs talk about like a buffer area, like a good buffer area for a lawn, and I'm sure it could be debated, but for a lawn in our regs is 25 foot. Just no disturbance within the 25
Yeah.
feet of that edge of that wetland, which appears to be followed here. One interesting point on this property in terms of floodplain, the new floodplain maps, which aren't official yet, so they don't really have a bearing on this, eliminate the floodplain.
So it's not even an
Right
issue
here.
in the future.
Yeah, this floodplain drops off on this. It becomes much more southern from this. It's kind of unique for the property, but the wetlands still are there.
The new floodplain is more closely associated with the river?
Yes.
Than this tributary?
Yeah, they did a more detailed study in this area in regards to the
Yeah.
floodplain. So we're actually getting some elevation numbers and stuff now, which we haven't had.
It's been a long time coming for Wyndham County to get
Yeah,
that flood study.
yeah. And they're colored maps
Yeah,
too,
great.
like not black and white. A little more detail.
Did we talk last time about any tree removal having to take place on this property?
The property's mainly a field.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it's scrub brush.
Yeah,
If-
there's not much woody vegetation at all, it's mostly
Yeah.
grasses, yeah.
Okay.
There may be some trees required to be removed up along Pineville Road, which is essentially as far away from the wetland as you can get on this property. The
Okay.
That's their
large,
choice if they decide to do that.
the 30-inch and the 24-inch hickory trees on that side, I would see, unless they were dead, which I did not
Yeah,
recall
it'd be
them
part of the
being.
encroachment permit because it's going to be right on the edge there.
Yep.
I wouldn't see any need for any tree removal here. There aren't many.
Did you have anything else from the plans?
No, I didn't see anything else that jumped out at me. And town engineer is satisfied with everything here?
Yep, I had emails. I have an email that's in the file from Dave in regards to it from
Okay.
4 o'clock this afternoon.
And the latest plans reflect your
Yep.
comments back to him?
Yep,
Yes.
Dave already made comments on those, so.
Okay.
Yep.
Because these plans still show the HDPE pipe, but they've been revised since, right?
The large plan that you have?
This,
The-
no, there's another one.
The larger plan shows the concrete?
Yes, it's marked revision A with today's date on it.
Okay.
It shows the reinforced concrete pipe only within the town's right of way. It's still the HDPE going down to
Okay.
the outlet.
Okay.
Presumably, they may be concerned about someone going off the road and crushing it.
Yep.
That's the only reason I could imagine why they would want concrete instead of plastic
Yeah.
pipe.
Okay.
Your consent.
Motion to approve application 21-1538.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve application 21-1538 of Tammy Rainville and Robert Labonte, as it is now finalized and presented. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you all for your time.
Okay,
Thank
thank you. Okay, our next item of unfinished business is application 21-1540 of Fallbrook Investments for construction of a single-family residence at 43 Fallbrook Road.
Okay, so same as the last one, and I'll let Greg take it from there, but same as the last one, there's a staff report looking at this. This is an older subdivision lot. I think it's one of two that remain in the subdivision. I have the subdivision going all the way back to, sorry, I'm out of order.
Well, it's a good-sized subdivision,
It's
too.
an old
There's
one,
quite
I
a
know
few
that.
houses there.
I had in 1963 being like the first part of it for the subdivision. Which kind of created this lot, I think, in that process. And there's been some tweaks since then, and it had previous wetlands approval. It's just time has run out on that. Go ahead, Greg, all you.
All right, good evening. For the record, Greg Glaude from Killingly Engineering Associates, with a place of business of 114 Westcott Road here in Danielson, Connecticut. I represent Fallbrook Investments LLC, and as Jonathan mentioned, this is an older subdivision lot. It was lot number 4. It's 8.3 acres. I think the last revision of that subdivision was in 1986. And we last came before you for this very lot with almost exactly this plan that we're looking at tonight, back in June of 2015, where we did have an approval. Again, we're doing a single development. There is a shared driveway on this. Yep.
Greg, just one second. I don't see a site plan in here.
No, I'm not either. I don't see.
Oh, we're going back and forth here. Okay. Okay, yeah.
I had put them all at the tail end. I can give you the full folder if you want a bigger
that's
plan.
fine.
Okay.
All right, sorry, Greg, go ahead.
No problem. So we're looking for development of a single-family residence on the property with an on-site well and septic system. As you can see, there is a larger wetlands that takes up, the southern portion of the property and the easterly portion of the property up against Interstate 395. So we are limited to one buildable envelope. The only difference between this plan and the plan from 2015 is we did push the house up about 40 feet towards Fallbrook Road, and that is to the north. And that was really to give a bigger backyard, because knowing the way it was laid out before, there was only about a 30-foot backyard. Now we have about a 75-foot, knowing that's where somebody's gonna play and do most of their, their outdoor activities. We were trying to make it so that they wouldn't encroach into the wetlands if they ever decided to. We do have the same limits of clearing that were shown around the site plan from back in 2015. We are showing a continuous line of silt fence that will go along the entire perimeter, southerly and easterly of the property. The septic system is the same septic system that was approved back in 2015. We did submit it back to NDDH only because there have been some minor health code modifications in 2018, and part of the application package, I believe Jonathan has the approval letter from January 27th, 2022 from the Health Department. And I know one of the other things that Jonathan had mentioned, since the wetlands delineation was older, it's from 2005 by Michael Schaefer. We did have Joseph Thorough go out and look at the original delineation. He was able to find some of the original knots from the original wetlands flagging, and he did validate that wetlands delineation is still the same and hasn't changed. And there is a letter in the file dated February 1st, 2022 from Joseph Thoreau summarizing that he does agree with the delineation as shown on the plan, and that he was able to find some of those original markings. So, and I believe Jonathan has that as well in your package. We did look at since we are rather close to the wetlands with the septic system, I believe we're about 75 feet away. Our engineer at our office did do a renovation calculation to look at the diluted concentration for nitrogen coming from that. And as part of our application, he comes up with 8.5 milligrams per liter. That is under the 10 milligrams per liter, which is considered drinking water standards. So I think we had presented that to you back in 2015 as well, but we reran that with a new report. So we're still at that same thing. I guess that's all I have, unless anybody has any questions on the site plan itself.
Okay, let me just find the staff report on this, too.
This is one of the ones I briefly looked at with Dave. I didn't have Dave do a memo for it because
Okay, because I didn't see one. Okay.
it was a recent approval. He saw no real change. He said there would be no real change on comments. That everything appeared to be addressed from previous. So there was nothing really there. Same thing for staff, and I looked at it. It was fairly benign. It's
The time ran out
gone
and
through this
nothing else.
process
Yeah.
before. The items I had asked for were provided. So.
Anything jump at you? Probably made sense to make the backyard a little bigger.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
You're sitting there on 8 acres and have a 30-foot backyard.
Right, and most of the front yard would have been taken up with the driveway and the turnaround for the driveway, so
Yeah.
he wanted to bring it forward, and I didn't think it was a big deal because it was parallel with the wetlands, wasn't getting any closer to it.
Just curious, what's gonna happen with the encroachments that have been noted on?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that, too.
Yeah, we know there's a chicken shed, there's a well.
Garage.
We're gonna grant an easement, we're showing an easement to be granted for the well. I mean, it's been there for some time, so it probably goes upon the statute of limitations. The other one's a portable carport. I'm sure that the client will have conversations once they get into construction on how to handle that. But we were showing a proposed easement for the well. The well's just a few feet over the property line there.
Yeah, I saw the
Yeah.
easement.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other things are a chicken coop and, again, the portable carport. So they'll probably do something. They may realign the driveway a little better, too, because the driveway's actually out of the easement, the shared easement, which ends quite a bit further. So he may do some work with them while he's constructing their driveway. It all depends on how the negotiations go or the talks with the neighbor on that sort of stuff. Once they get into construction, I'm sure it'll come up.
Okay.
Chicken coop's been there a while.
I was going to say, it's a
Yeah.
shared chicken coop
Yeah.
at this
Yep.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Townsend, if it's been there for more than 4 years, we don't get it civil. So
Yeah,
usually the neighbors will work it out.
yeah. Yeah, I just don't wanna see
Yeah.
that coop ending up, closer to the wetlands, moving on down that slope, but.
Anything else on this one?
I don't think so. Motion to approve application 21-1540.
Seconded.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded to approve application 21-1540 as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Okay, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
time tonight.
Thanks.
Okay, new business. Application 22-1541 of Scott Pearson for jurisdictional ruling for timber harvest. And that's at many lots on Breakneck Hill.
Yeah, it is quite a few lots on Breakneck Hill, that's for sure. Let's see. Okay, so this is property owned by Anthony Pucinella. It's quite simply a simple timber harvest. There are I believe 4 crossings, three wetlands crossing, 1 stream crossing, about 400,000 board feet. It is being submitted by a Connecticut licensed forest practitioner. On the point with town's comments on something like this, they're fairly benign. It's an as-of-right activity, as long as we're seeing best management practices. The harvest is set to start in March. It's very dependent on the weather, what it's going to look like in March. So definitely need a tracking pad. If you've been to that area on Breakneck Hill, it's extremely steep. So they're going to be going up a pretty steep embankment. There's actually a property right next door to it that already had some lumber on it. So we've already been to the site because a different property did a cut. Timber harvest, they're supposed to notify us when they, it's best practice, under best practice to notify us, but it is very common for some properties to sometimes get cut, and we find out after the fact and have to work it out. So this one they've come, forward, but it is a quite large collection of properties. It'd be a fairly significant cut, but on the staff end, it will just be a something we'll have to watch and inspect, particularly the crossings.
It says there's some stream crossings.
Yeah, so in their notice, they did supply a GIS map.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at
Yep.
here.
I did look at this with a little bit more detail on our GIS. It does appear that these are like the smallest areas, like the very common sense approaches.
Okay.
But it quite simply with a property this large, I'd have to go out and see. I have not walked the entirety of this property yet. It's very old, overgrown forestry roads. The intention is just to do a forest right now. It's not linked to any development. So kind of is what it is.
My concern though is with the actual watercourse crossing.
The watercourse one in particular, the stream one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I've seen, I'm involved with a lot of lot clearing, and I've seen good crossings,
Yep.
and I've seen
Where
terrible.
they just slam through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can reach out to the timber harvester. We're not really up under like a time frame or anything like that, but reach out to him and just see if he has a particular method
Yeah.
that he uses, and just compare. I have the one of the forestry manuals and kind of compare it to
Yeah, I mean,
best practices.
Yeah, it's by
I'm not
right, but
saying
it makes
it's our
sense,
jurisdiction. I'm
Yeah.
not
but it
saying
makes
that at
sense
all.
for you to
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
stay
but
on top and watch that a little more
for
than some
for
of the others.
wetlands in particular, that's usually where they go from as of right to
Right.
a regulated activity is at that crossing.
Right.
So I will reach out to the forester and just double check.
Yeah, see if he has a particular method in mind
That'd be
Yep.
nice to know.
for that crossing.
Yep. I don't think it will hinder what you guys are doing tonight in terms of jurisdictional.
No, I'm not saying
No.
it's our
Yep.
jurisdiction. I'm
Yep.
just saying it's probably good that the town know
Stays
what
on
he
top of
has
it.
Oh, agreed.
planned for that. Yeah.
Agreed. It is a very unique site
Yeah.
in terms of even just entry to get up there.
There is an old road that goes up in there, right?
There is.
Yeah.
There is. I believe they would do hunting and stuff on the property, so at least once a year they were traveling in and out of that property. So, but it's a fairly quiet portion of Breakneck Hill.
So at this point, we just need a jurisdictional ruling on this one.
Yep. If you believe it's as of right, I would ask for a motion. It's just a little cleaner.
Yep. And it's fine, though, to add the stipulation that we'd like you to
Oh yeah.
be
Yeah.
very much on top of the crossings.
That's fine.
Motion to rule in favor of application 22-1541 of as of use right. However, I do recommend that the town have a discussion with the forester and get his best management practices for the the watercourse crossing in particular.
Second.
I have a question.
Yep. We have a motion and a second,
Am I
so
out of-
we can do it
am
during
I out of
discussion.
order here?
Yeah,
No,
one
no.
second.
Hold on.
Motion's been made and seconded to rule this as a activity of right, but with the town being on top of the watercourse crossing. Now, any discussion? Go ahead, Deb.
Yeah, I'm just reading on this paper here that the main wetland crossing will be built with 5 by 22 foot mats. So is that answering our question? I mean, what are these mats they're talking about?
Those are the normal mats that they always use at a crossing. He's more concerned about the actual course crossing, not the wetlands crossings.
Got it.
You see those mats
Yeah,
everywhere
the
getting
timber
hauled for
mats-
them.
Timber mats are everywhere. That's usually how those companies do that, those wetland crossings.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Now, we had a couple of other things. It's very nice because we've got the authorized agent applications here. It's nice to look at them. I think it puts everybody in a better place.
Did, we voted, right?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to make sure.
Okay, with staff reports, first item's application 21-1539 of Square One Building
Yep.
for demolition of an existing cottage and construction of a new one at 7 Lawton Lane.
Yep, so for this one, I don't have a copy of the NDDH paperwork yet. They've been having more of a dialogue back and forth, but you will see there has been a change on the map where the well location is. They originally were going to be utilizing the well because of the testing and everything like that. It is going to be a new well location. It's further away from Alexander's Lake. I was able to go to the site and look at the rubble wall that was kind of in question. Quite simply, they could remove it. They could not remove it. It's like one course high. It's very,
Oh,
very
so it's
small.
not
It's more decorative.
It threw me off with all the stairs that are.
Yeah.
It looked like a,
I think that was more of a Scribner's thing with the,
Okay.
now, as far as, the plan also now has, point elevations on there. The surveyor did ask, he's like, do you want me to do, lay over the topography for it and stuff? And I was like, honestly, with what's being submitted, the points are fine. It is what it is. So, staff felt, fairly confident, especially considering Alexander's Lake, what we usually see for the cottages there. We're talking about a cottage that is already there. It's in existence. They are making it more conforming in terms of zoning regulations. I say that only because I look at that stuff too. But so they are making it more conforming. I'm not concerned with height or anything like that. There are some questions about the elevations. But I think I have enough to move forward with jurisdictional. It's very similar. We want to have a conditional approval, and that's pretty common with these, to require health department approval, the final documentation, because
well,
there's.
because you wouldn't actually be issuing the agent approval until you had the health department.
Right.
So with the agent approval, I can issue it conditionally. I can put conditions on there. So I can say that it's required. I'm in a unique enough position where, in terms of the zoning permit comes to my desk, and
So
if
you
that's
can
not
stop it.
there, we don't move forward.
Okay.
There's another additional step when we talk about NDDH in particular with building permits. It used to be that you could issue a building permit in Connecticut, then get your health department paperwork. That's changed with the new code changes. So the health department is required before the building official is supposed to sign off. Our office is well aware of that. So that's a very common conversation that we have. So it definitely would be conditional. I have no reason for them not to be able to put it in the paper and start that appeal period with the conditional, provided health department process sometimes takes a little longer.
I think the big question was that wall.
It was, yeah.
Yeah,
And now we find out it's not really a wall.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's
when you looked at the plan, it was very.
it's nothing.
We didn't know.
And then as far as E&S, I did want to see some E&S, even though it is pretty flat there, any kind of change, just protecting that edge with the lake. And that was pretty much it for that one.
That sound good?
Yeah.
Any other questions on it? All right, do we have to vote? We don't, we're just
You don't
being
need a
made-
vote
No,
on
because we're
that.
just being made aware of what you're doing.
Yep, just
Perfect.
making it aware. You
And our
guys
next
have
one will
the-
be application 22-1542 of Bluestone Meadow Properties,
Yep.
54 Breakneck Hill.
So this is a property that I've actually been in conversation with the applicant Paul for I want to say like 6 or 7 months on. It had some unique encroachments that are on the site plan in terms of the entire septic system from the neighboring property. It was part of an old proposed lot line adjustment that apparently fell through. But the old records, all of the stuff was submitted and went through showing lot lines that never got finalized. So he's in conversation with the property owners, but I believe he's going to end up just granting an easement. I think that's what works best for both parties. It doesn't really affect the wetlands much, but it kind of added to the uniqueness of the property. It is a quite large property, 41 acres. Much of the property is above 15% slope, lots of wetlands throughout, ledge. The location, quite simply, is the
Is this
spot
on
you
the
would
left or
put.
the right when you just start? Because you're just off
It's on
to
the right, on the
To the
right-hand
right?
side. It is the location you would put the house. There's a wetland body that's referenced to the south, which is heavily influenced from drainage. We're kind of towards the bottom of the hill. There's cross culverts in the road, and a lot of the drainage comes through on that area. J&D Engineering did submit a letter kind of addressing the project as a whole, and then we have the site plan. It seems relatively benign. The only slight concerns I had was separation distances. It's definitely an engineered system, but I think everything's an engineered system nowadays.
Yeah.
I would, if I may interject, I would recommend, just because we went through this on Fallbrook,
Yep.
this is an old delineation. This is a 2005 delineation by Michael Schaefer.
That's true. It's
Oh, okay.
better than 15 years now, so it might be a good idea to have it updated before we
Okay.
do anything.
Before we do anything, I would suggest that.
Yeah, well, this one was just submitted.
Okay.
And what I can look to do is reach out to J&D Engineering, ask
Yep.
for a little bit additional information in regards to the wetlands delineation.
Only because we just went through this with Fallbrook.
Yep.
That's
No,
true, too.
it's
It's so long.
definitely fair. It's what we asked of them. So. Similarly, if a soil scientist looks at the delineation, is able to visit the site, hopefully without any snow there.
It's supposed to be 40 degrees this week.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
we're just gonna slide on the mud and then fall.
And can submit at least some kind of documentation, kind of back it up. I think at that point, we'd probably be good to.
Yeah, I
move
mean, that
forward.
letter that Killing the
It's
Engineering
perfect.
has, that was fine.
Okay.
I don't think there's any issue with you acting upon it once you do that, right?
Once they verify
Yeah.
that the wetlands.
Part of the reason on the Alexander's Lake one in particular, kind of jumping back, was time frame, and I figured, well, I might as well put it in front of you guys just to make sure.
Oh, yeah.
So before we.
And we
put
did,
any
we
legal
wondered
ads.
about that wall that wasn't a
Yep.
wall.
Yep. So I will reach
Looked
out
like
to
one.
J&D and see if we can get some updated documentation in
Yeah.
regards to that, and then otherwise, I'm fairly confident with what's being proposed.
All right.
Yeah, hopefully that line hasn't changed at all, but, or if it has, maybe not much, so.
I do
Agreed.
have a question. It looks like the septic encroaches on this lot. Am I looking? at
Yeah.
it?
Yeah,
That's
the
what he
neighbor,
said.
the neighbor's
The neighbor's
septic
whole septic system's over there.
encroaches.
System.
And
That's bigger than the other guy's chicken coop.
I was gonna say, yeah.
prior to the proposed activity, that was something that I've met with this person who ended up buying the property.
Yep.
And we found where the confusion was at. And I think quite simply, a contractor was using a draft set of plans and laid out everything, and just no one ever really called. It's there.
So is
So-
that their well too, or no?
There is a well. There's the septic. It's all.
All of the amenities for another house.
Well, I was gonna, and what confused me is because it says approximate. I'm like, so does that mean nothing ever
He-
got built there? And what's the old well then?
What's the old
Yeah.
well, yeah.
Yeah, I believe they kind of doused that area just to find the edge. I know there was conversation about scoping it and stuff, but I don't know if the adjoining property owner allowed that.
All right, I don't think it's
Again, we're away from the wetlands on that end, but it did affect, location of well and whatnot.
Just to be clear, I'm not expecting the wetlands to have changed much because it's going
a big-
uphill at
Yeah.
that point, but
It's nice, though. I mean, we
We
made
just
the other
went through
guys
it.
do it.
Yeah.
Right, we
And it
just
has
went
been
through it.
15 years, and
yeah.
drainage causes a lot of
Yep,
weird
and
things to
there
happen.
was work to the roadway too, so in that area, 2015, 2014.
Right.
So they may have dumped
there-
something
so there
in
could
that
have been
wasn't
some
there before.
changes.
Yep.
Yep.
That makes sense. Now, it looks like we actually don't have any new business.
Not yet.
Anything look like it's coming?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he said.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of people looking at stuff. We have some pending applications that involve like map changes, zone changes. A lot of people are asking about text changes, even in the
It's
regulations.
not a lot of easy stuff left.
There's not a lot of easy lots left.
Yeah, that's
That was some conversations we're having on the staff end in regards to even some revision as we look forward to, in particular, zoning regulations, and even just best practices, because there are many of these properties that we're looking at where, you're looking at 15-degree slopes, 16-degree slopes, and you have, people moving here from out of state that are like, it's the best property ever. And so we're trying to like accommodate. There are a lot of old lots of record, but not every property in the end can accommodate. It's just, it is what it is. So, but you guys will be the first to know.
All right, anything else then from you? We actually get a council report tonight? Come.
Yep.
You could have come up and joined us anyhow,
It's been a while.
We felt unloved, can you tell? No, we don't.
I will let you know, I did have a conversation with Mary Colorio regarding, your agenda didn't make it to the town's calendar on the town's website. It was on the commission page, but the agenda wasn't listed on the town calendar.
Yep, it was with the clerk and everything. I didn't realize that was an extra step that we need to do, so that
Okay.
will be fixed for next month.
Okay,
So.
all right.
Yep.
It doesn't affect what we did.
No,
No,
it
not at
doesn't.
all. Still on
It
legal
doesn't
and
change.
stuff.
Yes, yep.
No,
If-
because those
yep.
are the things that you get turned over
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
It's always a legality, it's
Yep.
not,
I reached out.
opinion. It's
Remember what I said tonight.
Yeah.
Do it
Yeah.
all over again.
It won't change anything with
That's what the tape's for.
FOIA. It's an extra step the town does. It's in
Yeah.
the guise of transparency. It's nice that we do it.
It's a good idea.
Quite simply, I think some of those might have been done in the past with our secretaries and stuff, and just it got missed. So we're gonna make sure that it's done.
It is something I contacted Mary about earlier this evening, just to make sure. Because if it was gonna be an issue, I would have definitely reached out and let you guys know.
I would
So,
have had to hurry from that barn straight here.
Yeah, Mary called promptly, so we looked at it.
okay, all right. So, town council last month at the special town council meeting, or where am I looking at? Regular town council meeting last month. We had a bunch of appointments and reappointments to boards and commissions. We reappointed 5 people and appointed 3 new appointees to different boards and commissions. We're doing
We
what
could
we
use
can.
somebody when you got someone floating,
We are, our big concern right now is WPCA. Because.
You gotta have 'em.
Yeah. If one person is out, they don't have a quorum.
I had a gentleman pick up a application today for wetlands.
Oh, yeah? Good.
Forester that was very interested.
Good.
So.
So we have been promoting that as much as we can, trying to recruit people to come on the boards and commissions, because we know how important it is. We also have 4 more, 1 reappointee and 3 possible reappointments coming up tomorrow. We'll be voting on those tomorrow. None of them are for inland wetlands, though.
But look, we still made a quorum even with Fred down, so we did okay.
Also last month at the regular meeting, town council reappointed Halloran and Sage as the town attorney, and we reappointed Pullman and Conley for special counsel for bond counsel. We did set a date for the town council's goal-setting meeting, however, it got snowed out So we will be rescheduling that shortly. For last week's special town council meeting, we interviewed 4 candidates. And then we had a joint meeting with WPCA. Dave Cap was actually the one who attended and went over everything that's been going on as far as the sewer treatment plant and wrapping up the project down there.
Now, where are they standing on the conclusion? It's gotta be close.
For sewer?
Yeah.
They're pretty close, I would say,
That's
to
what I
the
thought.
end. Yeah, I know one of the big hurdles was that the old building, and that's down and cleaned up. So it's getting towards the end, but you know, like most infrastructure, there'll be something in the
I was gonna
future.
say, you finish that and then something else to
Yep.
start.
They were looking into putting battery storage at the site, but it just wasn't cost effective when they looked at the numbers. So basically what would have been big giant battery pack, charge it during off-peak hours and during peak hours, pull off of it, but cost savings weren't there. So, and that's all I have.
At least you came to visit, that's nice. We like company.
Do you have
Alright.
anything for me? Any questions?
No,
Thank you.
thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. All right, anything else, John?
No, I think that's pretty much it. And we're at adjournment, so.
Motion to adjourn.
Seconded.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? Thank you.
Good night, all.